Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We have a special guest on the line, Stacey Tisdale.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, Stacey.
Good morning, Stacey. And Stacey and I are partners in Wealth Wednesday. How long have we been doing Wealth Wednesday for?
3 years.
3 years. And so we do have a big announcement.
We are launching a new platform called TeamWealthWednesdays.com that we're really launching to organize the impact that the Black community can have on our economy, the overall economy, and really seize this moment in history. Because, Angela, as we talk about all the time, we didn't know what to do when COVID happened. I mean, you just saw in an instant, all of the gains that the Black community had made economically, they looked like they were going to be wiped out immediately. Half our businesses closed within 3 months. Unemployment shot up to almost 17, 19%. But it's been, in my 20 years of covering business, markets, and economies, I've never seen anything like this, the way that there has just been a fundamental shift in what's happening in the Black economy. And that's really us. That's us.
What do you attribute that to, Stacey?
A couple of things. First of all, George Floyd is a saint, and he woke the world up in a way, not just to economic equality and economic brutality, but he sparked a willingness for people to really understand what that means and an openness to have real conversation. Since that time, the money flowing into Black businesses, I mean, billions of dollars you're seeing from Silicon Valley investing in Black businesses, particularly Black female entrepreneurs. We had Jeff Bezos' ex-wife invest billions of dollars into HBCUs as an example. We have, corporations. I help corporations try to figure out their diversity strategies. I've never seen so many corporations trying to, recruit Black people. We also have the millennial generation I honestly think they're going to be the generation to close the wealth gap. Can you believe how many times Angela and I have come on and spoken about there's a home ownership crisis. Black home ownership levels aren't moving. That wealth gap's not going to close until we see that. Black millennials are the fastest growing group of home buyers since COVID. And that's really a testament to that generation. They saw a lot of crap. And they got a lot of crap. They came of age during a recession. They got saddled with a lot of student loan debt. They got, all the mistakes the previous generations have made. So they developed really interesting habits. I think they're the most interesting generation. They saved their money. Black millennials are the most educated. So they're bringing those smarts to their game, and they've seen, I'm not going to be able to have a stake in wealth in my community until I own in my community. So we have Black millennials, they're buying houses. They're moving into the suburbs. They're taking that apartment rent money. They're buying houses. And what they've done is they moved the whole needle. The number of Black home ownership has gone up a full percentage point for everybody in the last year because of Black millennials. And when you look at that and their entrepreneurial spirit, I honestly predict they can close the wealth gap. For one big reason is we're all very focused on the wealth gap, and they're very focused on wealth building. And when you put those things together and you just simply look at the resilient nature of Blacks, I know, Charlamagne, we've had some amazing conversations about the financial history of Blacks. It's just not spoken about as much. It's Black History Month, so I'll just take a second. I mean, the Black economy really started with the Freedmen's Bank when Lincoln freed the slaves and said, I've kept y'all in slavery. You don't know what to do with money, so I'm going to start a place for you to organize your money. Mm-hmm. Within 10 years, those Black slaves amassed $60 million. In those days, that would have been about $7 trillion in our economy today. And that money was literally stolen from them to build the Treasury Annex building. You have practices like redlining that made it illegal for Blacks to buy houses. But, predatory lending, housing crisis, all that nonsense. And somehow, before COVID, Black households in the United States were the fastest growing income earners. We have this DNA, and that's what, no matter what we're facing, people have to remember this cloth from which we're cut. This amazing study came out this week about Black small business owners. Can you believe that half of us have retooled our businesses and now expect revenue gains in 2021? 20% of Black-owned businesses expect to hire in 2021. It's like, whatever you do to us, we bounce back, and people have to remember that and bring it to our money game. Because I've never seen a moment like this where we have a chance to make real impact, and that inspired TeamWealthWednesdays.com. It was the moment to make a platform for us to organize that, because we don't have to be meet anybody on their own terms. They have to meet us where we are.
Absolutely.
Did you see that that one couple that went to get an appraisal, and they actually got an appraisal, and the house appraisal was very low, so they got a white friend or a white neighbor to stand in, and the appraisal shot up when they came and seen that it was a white woman there?
Shut up, $500,000.
$500,000. That's incredible. And remember, and I know we talked about this on this show, the exact same thing happened to Cory Booker. We had him as a guest on one of our shows this summer, and his family got denied a mortgage, and they sent a white family in to pretend that they were his family. This group did, and the bank gave them a mortgage. Senator Cory Booker. So when all the mortgage was approved and everything, Senator Booker's parents went into the bank to say, hey, that was really us, and this is BS. And they turned the dogs on his family. It was just incredible. So that doesn't surprise me at all, Envy, that facing that kind of discrimination. But millennial generation, we have this kind of buying power and this kind of intelligence. So people will wake up. And that's really one of the reasons why we have to be very careful about who we work with and borrow money from. One of the things that Angela and I think it's really important to do with TeamWealthWednesdays.com is to use our power to make changes in the corporate world. We're only going to work with companies that meet 3 criteria. They solve for an economic barrier. They have commitment to community service, and within the Black community, but like a real commitment to community service, and that they are committed to diverse corporate cultures. We're not saying that just to be nice. And I'll give you Rocket Mortgage, for example. I went out to Detroit myself, and I met with top management at Rocket, all of their top brass. And that company interested us to be a partner because of one thing that I think all Blacks should be mindful of. They're a technology company. This is an online mortgage lender. And unfortunately, doing that transaction online instead of face-to-face reduces those higher costs we get for mortgages by 40%. Just, the nature of an online company reduces bias. So I'm like, that's interesting for our community, but I'm not partnering with you until I see you walk the walk. So I went out there, I looked at the company, really impressed me. Like Essence Magazine has named Rocket Mortgage as one of the best places for Blacks to work several times. And, this is a big mortgage company. They have a great product for us, but look at that company. They have this program called 313, which is addressing the digital divide. And that's still a big challenge for us, getting our community wired. We saw how many kids couldn't even go to school because they, couldn't get online virtually. So Black people have to realize that buying
power.
Yeah, buying Black is great and smart, but look what we learned from GameStop. Investing, you have a bigger seat at the table when you use your investment dollars, when you go to use someone to do business. And that's the kind of impact we can have. And we should talk about that more, about what we learned from GameStop and what the community can do.
What did we learn from GameStop?
Well, we learned we got a financial illiteracy crisis in this country because it was a great
frenzy.
It was a frenzy, and it was a great short pop. And we'll get to that in just a moment. But look what just small investors did to the stock market. There was, hearings on Capitol Hill last week. Policymakers took note. I mean, I was the first Black and the first African American to report from the New York Stock Exchange. I've seen every gyration and everything going on with stocks. I can tell you this is the one thing they didn't count on: small investors waking up to the fact that they really had the power all along. So
to manipulate the market. We're so used to these huge companies, these huge investors manipulating the market. They're not used to us going around them and doing it. It wasn't what they had in their plan.
Absolutely. And we saw, that happen with GameStop. And just imagine if we collectively invested in companies that, represented us well, Black companies, but also companies just like I was describing with Rocket Mortgage that do good things for us. And one of the things we learned, however, with GameStop is you still have to, markets return to fundamentals. Stocks move for many reasons, but it all comes down to a company's bottom line. And you have to look at the fundamentals. That company did not have the fundamentals to support that stock price. We also saw people lose their rent money because they tried to catch the run on GameStop. The stock market is a long-term investment. You should not have money in stocks that you need within 5 years. Right. And you should look at the company's fundamentals. One of my best guides for buying a stocks is I buy companies I use. I bought stock in Zoom in the spring when I started using Zoom. New shirt. Just really pay attention to that. But think of stocks as a long-term investment. And what we saw with GameStop, cool, but quite frankly, individual stock picking is not something that, small investors should really try to do very often. And now you don't have to be rich to invest anymore because you have all these apps that allow you to, buy into it. I think one of the most interesting ones I've seen lately is a company called Publix, which really lets you.
I'm on Public and I use Public. Every single day I look at Public. That's actually how I find out what's going on everywhere. Like when I was talking about Spotify earlier, the first time I saw about what Spotify has going on is on Public. I invested in the Real and I saw they hired a new CEO who was the CEO at Neiman Marcus. So I was like, okay, I'm going to buy some stock in the Real because that's a company that I'm familiar with. And I know that after this pandemic, I feel like a lot of people have been selling things and a lot of people will be out. People are still buying luxury items. It's just you have to know where to go. And so I've been on there. I bought Tesla. I bought Amazon. You don't have to pay the amount of money that you would have to pay if you were going through a stockbroker. You can buy $20 worth of stock.
Yeah. And so technology companies, solve for that. We had difficulties entering the stock market because you had to have so much money to buy a mutual fund before. And it's the tech world that's really solving those barriers. So now that we have the platform, we certainly have the power. We just have to get educated and organize the information. That's what teamwealthwednesdays.com is all about. If you go there, you take a pledge to learn, plan, and act when it comes to your financial life. And then every week, every Wednesday, we're going to send you information. We're going to send you, news. We're going to send you information about our upcoming events. And this is a community. This is a movement. And one of my favorite features about the site is our career center. And we have a survey up there called Know Thyself. And in this survey, you're going to learn what it's a personal journey, what your personal strengths are, what your personal weaknesses are that you can bring to the workplace. It's really a great exercise. So a company called Capfinity. And then we're going to take that information and we're going to have real recruitment seminars with companies where they recruit. But this is what's really important. We've talked a lot about the opportunities that are here, but despite all this money flowing in to the Black economy from all different places, there's a danger of this becoming a moment and not a movement. And that danger is what I call the communication communication gap. I know there's a lot of companies with goodwill. I know there's companies throwing billions of dollars at Black female entrepreneurs. Okay, so they think, okay, I did the right thing, but they have to understand who a Black female entrepreneur is. This is a woman who is probably head of household. This is a woman who is disproportionately taking care of friends and family members. Black female entrepreneurs do differently. So if you say, oh, I'm going to give this $1 billion grant to Black female entrepreneurs, you can't take them through your normal investment checks and processes. And on that group, particularly Black female entrepreneurs, very frustrating. There's not a lot of data out there where people can learn who they are. So we want to bridge what's called a communication gap. Companies have goodwill, but they need us at the table to help them make decisions. They have to understand what it means to really have an inclusive workforce. They have to understand that as a Black employee, I feel like I can't be myself in your workforce. That's cutting into my productivity. So we have to have more Blacks at the table for those conversations. So on teamwealthwednesdays.com, we're setting up a platform to have those conversations.
And we actually are doing another virtual event, and we have 15 HBCUs that are attending.
Okay, I got to do this shout out. We have, okay, y'all know I can't see for squat. So we have 15 HBCUs that are doing watch parties for this event, February 24th, right on the Breakfast Club YouTube channel. And we have
Hampton University is one of those.
I was getting to that. All right, I'll start with the school. We have Claflin University, Johnson C. Smith University, Alabama A&M University, Edward Waters College, Florida A&M University, Prairie View A&M, Bethune-Cookman University, Grambling State University, Fisk University, Harrison-Stowe State, Fayetteville State, Hampton University, because I knew somebody that I was talking to today was going to make sure they were up there.
Charlamagne, you went to Hampton?
I'm South Carolina State. I didn't go there.
You wouldn't even talk to me. No, and they went to Hampton. And for you, Charlamagne, South Carolina State.
Yes, ma'am.
They have North Carolina Central and Norfolk State. So these all these schools are having watch parties. And on teamwealthwednesdays.com, you take a pledge, and that's when we said that gets you in our community. And the school that has the most number of students taking the pledge is going to get a $10,000 donation.
Wow.
From teamwealthwednesdays.com. So watch parties, take the pledge. And we also, part of that donation comes from another organization that we did a lot of due diligence with, and that's Self Financial. And I know we've talked about Self before, and that's another fintech company that giving a shout out to their commitment to these HBCUs. That's a company that solves for an immediate systemic barrier that the Black community has. As soon as you download that app, they give you $500 in savings. I don't care what your credit's been. If you don't have credit history, nothing. And every month, for as little as $15 a month, you pay that back to them. They keep that savings in a CD account, so you get $500 at the end of the year, but your little tiny payments are reported to the credit bureaus. So they're helping you build credit history. They're helping you also force savings. Those are the kind of companies that, it's not a predatory company. Again, we went out to them, we met with their top management. These are the kind of companies that we need to be doing business with and really pay close attention to a lot of companies that are trying to take advantage of us, and don't invest with them. Don't use them. It's bigger than buying Black.
We have choices.
We do have choices. A lot of them.
Well, thank you for checking in. Give them the website one more time so they have it.
Yeah, teamwealthwednesdays.com. And you can also follow Wealth Wednesdays on Instagram. And tonight we have this amazing live event with 50 Cent, a virtual event. It's actually recorded. I was going to tell you, as a special gift to the Breakfast Club audience, you can go to teamwealthwednesdays.com and watch it right now. But if you don't go to the one at 7 o'clock, you're going to miss the live chat with Ms. Yee and me. So after tonight's event, but there's something very special in this too. I was in a motion picture with 50 Cent called The Game, which is an exploration of the hip hop economy. And we talk about the game and we do a salute to the hip hop economy, because they were really the trailblazers of what it means to take control of your own economy. And just one thing that comes to mind immediately was in Madison Square Garden, I remember the co-headed Def Jam, Lee R. Cohen, took Adidas to a concert because they were kind of, they were being skeptical. So Run DMC called everybody in the audience at the same time to lift up their Adidas sneakers. Audience was as white as it was black, just to show these companies that we really have the power. That was a complete game changer. 50's going to tell the story about what he did for vitamin water. These guys are really heroes in the entrepreneurship space, and we look forward to celebrating them on this special that we have as well.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you, Stacey Tisdale, for joining us, and we appreciate you and continue pushing generational wealth and financial freedom.
I love you all. Thank you so much.
We've been doing this for 3 years, so I'm glad we finally have this platform so we can show all the free seminars and free events that we've been doing. At first, they were in person. Now they're virtual just because of COVID, but I can't wait till we're back in person again.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Stacey.
Bye-bye, Stacey.